Good morning. Welcome to the Board of County Commissioners meeting Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020 at 9 o'clock. The invocation will be led by Commissioner Adamczak and the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Pickens. All rise if you're able.
Stand if you can and bow. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us your Son in this time of Christmas and in honor of his birth. And please allow us all to move forward in the ways that he walked on this earth, and allow us to make our decisions in a manner that would be pleasing to you and you sending your Son for us. Please in this day allow us to make the decisions that would be best and reflect on you and be in the best interest of our county, our community, and our country. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Adamczak, Commissioner Pickens. Commissioners, before we go on to the approval of the minutes, I would like to take a moment to ask, I'd like to rearrange the agenda. And I feel it's going to be more adequate as we go forward, but I don't want to do it unless, would you pass that down, Commissioner? I'd like to have public comment. I'd like to have public comment on agenda items, and then at the end of our presentation, or at the end of our meeting, public comment on miscellaneous, because I think they get messed over during our meeting, and I want to give the adequate time. So would it be the will of the board for me to allow to make that change?
I agree. Yes, sir. Great.
Thank you very much. Sarah, will you pass these out and also pass them out to the audience members for the rest? Jim, thank you for your help, and we'll give you a few moments to get that done. So this is going to give our citizens ample time, and you might find something on the agenda that you want to speak about.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Mr. Turner.
while we're passing them out, I'd like to move that we approve the minutes that is listed on the agenda.
We have a proper motion by Commissioner Turner to approve the minutes listed on the agenda. Proper second by Commissioner Pickens. Any further discussion on this matter? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Mr. Turner.
if you would grant me a point of order, I would like to, out of order, pull item B from the consent agenda and deal with it now.
That'd be fine, Commissioner Turner.
Okay.
You have the floor.
Thank you, sir. This is a resolution that we're going to pass today to honor the Honorable Tim Smith. I want to read the resolution, if I may, and then the chairman has granted me the honor of presenting the resolution to the Honorable Tim Smith. A resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Putnam County, Florida, designating Building F, located at 107 North 6th Street, Palaca, Florida, 32177, as the Honorable Tim Smith Building, authorizing the placement of appropriate signage outside and within the room and providing for an effective date. Whereas Tim Smith is a fifth-generation, lifelong Putnam County resident, and whereas Tim graduated from Palaca High School, attended St. Johns River State College, and was awarded a Bachelor of Science degree in Political Science from the University of Florida. And whereas Tim served as mayor of the city of Palaca from 1987 through 2000 and was elected as Putnam County Clerk of Courts in 2000 and sworn into office in January 2001. And whereas Tim was elected to serve as the president of the Florida Clerk of Courts and Comptrollers Association in 2010, served as chairman of the Florida Courts E-File Authority, and was selected as Court Clerk of the Year for 2012 and 13. And whereas Tim has been involved in many civic associations and functions for many years, beginning with his membership in the Palaca JCs, he is a charter member of Palaca Sunrise Rotary with 25 years perfect attendance, has served as honorary Walk America chair for March of Dimes several times, and named Volunteer of the Year for Putnam County March of Dimes in 2004. And whereas Tim served as chairman of the Putnam County Development Authority, is a past member of the Putnam County Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, president of the United Way of Putnam County, and a member of the Lee Conley Bureau Committee. And whereas Tim is a member of the St. Mark's Episcopal Church, married to Darlene, and has 2 married children with 3 grandchildren. And whereas Tim and his wife Darlene have hosted the annual Celebrity Chef event to support Lee Conley House efforts to fight domestic violence. And whereas throughout his life, and especially during his career as Putnam County Clerk of Court, Tim has been known as a generous and devoted public servant whose integrity and ambition has not only been instrumental in the growth and development of Putnam County, but served as an inspiration for its citizens. And whereas in recognition of the Honorable Tim Smith's contribution to Putnam County, the Board of County Commissioners wishes to bestow a special honor on him by naming the Putnam County Court Annex Building 1F after him. And whereas, based on the foregoing, the Putnam County Board of County Commissioners finds that Tim's integrity in office and his innumerable positive contributions to this community more than qualify him for the honor by the Board of County Commissioners. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners finds it in the best interest of the county to adopt this resolution, now therefore be it resolved as follows. The Putnam County Courthouse Annex 1F, located at 107 North 6th Street, Palaca, is hereby named and designated the Honorable Tim Smith Building. This resolution shall become effective immediately after adoption. Mr. Chairman, I move that this resolution proceed.
We have a proper motion by Commissioner Turner, proper second by Commissioner Rawls. Any other further discussion on the matter?
I'd just like to say one thing.
Please do, sir.
Mr. Smith, you know you've had a long life of civil service when it takes a 2-page resolution to describe it. So I think you more than exemplified. Thank you, Liam. I left my phone at home. You more than exemplify service above self. Thank you for your service.
Any other further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. The ayes have it. Yeah, Tim, why don't you come up? We'll stand up here. If y'all want to come up. Sure. Would that be good? Sure.
I'm going to stand behind everybody because he's the only one shorter than me.
Too. That's hilarious.
Look here, please. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much.
Mr. Smith, congratulations, sir.
Julian, did you get seen?
Mr. Chairman, before I give up the floor, I just wanted to let you know how much I appreciate me having the honor of doing that.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith, I'm sure you have a few comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm very humbled and honored today. And, you know, I made most of my comments at the previous meeting, so I won't say a lot, but I do want to thank you. I want to thank the staff at the clerk's office for 20 years of support, and I want to thank the citizens for allowing me to have the blessing of this job for 20 years. And it wouldn't be right if I didn't conclude by encouraging everyone to have professionalism, civility, compassion, and understanding of each other as everyone moves forward. And I thank you so much for that recognition today. And on behalf of my family and my friends, I thank you. And as I said before, humbled and honored to have received this recognition today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well deserved. All right, gentlemen, we have a 9:05 Solid Waste Committee, so I'm going to recess our Board of County Commission meeting, and we'll reset up for the Solid Waste Committee meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the minutes as listed on the agenda for solid waste collection and disposal district.
We have a proper motion by Commissioner Turner,
I'll second.
proper second by Commissioner Pickens. Any further discussion on the minutes? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, the ayes have it. Next item, solid waste certificate of corrections. Who's going to handle that?
Me, sir.
Thank you.
I received a request because I'm chairman of the Solid Waste Adjustment Committee from the tax collector's office. And basically, the way that we have things set up at the moment is that in order for a correction that everybody agrees was a mistake, they have to, it has to come to either the Solid Waste Adjustment Committee or to the Board of County Commissioners, even when the property appraiser agrees that the mistake was made, they're an omission. And even though the tax collector would like to do something about it without waiting sometimes months and months, we brought one before the board today to try and fix, and I've asked that the whole situation be placed on the third Tuesday workshop in January for further discussion about how to fix it from going forward like it used to be. But the one that's before us this morning was two parcels next door to one another, and the property appraiser put the assessments on the wrong property. They put the one next door instead of the one that was supposed to be. So after the discovery was made, it was made for several years. 2019, 18, and 17, solid waste assessments were basically placed on a parcel that had no structure on it, the wrong one. So they have asked that we allow the tax collector to go ahead and send the money back, refund the money for parcel 32-11-27-0000-0030-0001, and that we allow them to add to the parcel the same amount to the parcel 32-11-27-0000-0030-0000 to the, and then that would fix it. So,
Mr. Turner, on the 0010, you said 0001. So
That's
if you'll
correct.
clarify that.
yes, 0001. I think the one on the
On the
agenda
agenda is wrong.
was wrong.
Okay, the one on the agenda is wrong.
Yeah, they gave me
Thank you.
they gave me an email here stating it was wrong.
You're fine, you're fine.
So I think we're right by and basically that's the only thing we wanted to ask for this morning is that the tax collector can go ahead and write the checks and straighten this out, refund to the person and the person that paid it in error, and then give it, and then send the bill to the other one that should have had it for these years. And then the overall picture of having to bring it to the board to make a correction when everybody agrees it was wrong, we'll discuss that overall issue on the third Tuesday workshop, if that's okay with you, Mr.
That's
Chairman.
more than adequate. Mr. Commando, I have a question for you, though.
Could I
Don't we have-
correct one thing, Mr. Chairman?
Hang on just a minute, Ms. Meyer.
Sure.
Mr. Commando, don't we have to read the resolution by title only as,
Ordinances you do, resolutions you don't have
Thank you,
to,
sir.
but there is a process where sometimes elected governments do.
okay, thank you. Ms. Myers, go right ahead. We
I
can
just
pull them-
want to make sure that I want to make sure that there were 4 years. I think you mentioned 17, 18, and 19, Commissioner Turner. There's actually 4 years that the COC needs to be for. The 2020 bill went out as well with that error. So for 17, 18, 19, and 20 would be appreciated if you issue those two COCs for those two properties for those 4 years.
All right,
Mr. Chair, that's how the resolution is worded.
okay, good. Thank you. All right, board members. Board members, what's your pleasure? Mr. Turner, did you move that forward?
I think Mr. Adamsack has a light on.
I'm sorry, Mr. Adamsack?
Yeah, I guess, Linda, for the person that's going to receive a bill that didn't receive a bill, I assume they've been notified. They're aware that they're going to be getting a bill, that maybe to make sure they expect to get it.
So I
So since
believe
we're only
that that
giving
would
them
be the
60 days.
case. I believe that that is the case from the property appraiser's office, that they would have communicated with both sides of it, because we've actually had the one refund call us and say, when is that refund going to come?
Right.
The person who's getting the bill did not call and say, when is the bill going to come?
Sure, of course.
Just-
Do we know about how much that bill is?
Yes, sir, $1,283.
All right, and I guess the only reason I bring this up is because in this, we give them 60 days from the adoption to pay it. I mean, we give people that are delinquent in paying their fines for their properties needing abated longer than that. This person probably isn't expecting this. I mean, if they are, they may not have $1,100 sitting around Christmas time. Do we want to maybe consider extending that 60 days? Is that a possibility?
Very much so.
I wouldn't have a problem. I think it'd be fair to maybe
Hang on,
reach
Mr.
out to the
Ross.
individual.
Commissioner Pickens.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, those were my questions, the same as Mr. Adamsack, is this person aware they're gonna get a bill for 4
Yes,
years?
sir.
How much it is, and then if it's 60 days, I don't believe that's enough.
Well, that's your call. We did not,
I don't believe that's enough time, to be able to come up with that kind of money, whether they have it or not, so I would think at least 90 days.
and to be clear, they've already received a bill because there's been a COC on this property last week or 2 weeks ago. And that was that the mobile home was assessed to the wrong property. And this owner knew that he was not paying taxes at all, nor an assessment, nor taxes on that mobile home for 4 full years. So this shouldn't come as a surprise, although I have no problem with the time frame you want. I just want to move forward with this.
Okay. Commissioner Rawls?
I'm good.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the resolution be adopted as presented, with the exception of changing the verbiage that they have 90 days instead of 60 days as a resolution, I think, states.
We have a proper motion by Commissioner Turner,
I'll second.
proper second by Commissioner Pickens. Any further discussion on this matter? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, the ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Before you move on, I just look forward to the discussion in January on how we can resolve this in the future without special meetings.
I agree.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, and I agree with that.
And that's what I had, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We're going to end our solid waste collection district disposal. We're going to end that meeting and go back to our Board of County Commission meeting. The next item on the agenda is our public comment on agenda items. The public has had an opportunity to get a copy of the agenda. So is there anyone wanting to speak on agenda items only at this point? Okay. Thank you. We're going to bypass that, move on to presentations. The next item, item 5, Planning and Development Service recognition of Vaughn Wilhite for contributions to the animal services.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm here with Mr. Vaughn Wilhite, and I just want to let everybody know, this gentleman went above and beyond to help animal control. He found a need that we had at the shelter, which was Corunda beds. And if everybody knows, Corunda beds are elevated beds for dogs, and they're very expensive. It's a good $50, $60, $75 for the beds. And he found a need that we had, and he's in the Eagle Scouts, and so he used this as a project. And, I mean, he went way above. He brought me blueprints on how he was going to create this. He raised funds. He made the beds. He delivered the beds. And the dogs right now at the shelter are using these beds. And so I just wanted to let everybody know that he did a great service for us. The beds are very nice quality and probably are going to last a lot longer than some of the other beds that we have in stock. So I just wanted to be able to let you know that he's done this and be able to present him with an award.
Thank you. You want to read that, Lisa?
Yes. Excellent award is hereby presented to Von Will Height for providing outstanding and admirable service for making and donating 50 Corunda-type beds, animal beds, to be used for the dog's house at Putnam County Animal Control.
Good. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
And here's a pin from the council. And back here? I didn't want to pin it on your uniform, but congratulations. Come on up, let's get a picture.
Doing this back here?
Yeah.
Or you got a big crowd up there?
I'll come back.
Right up front, there you go.
Good job, Mom.
Commissioner Harvey, can you move?
One more, yeah?
There you go.
Okay.
That's better. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Excellent.
Congratulations.
Vaughn.
Thank you.
Mom.
So much. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Vaughn, would you like to say a few words? Don't be nervous, just,
With this project, it was a bit of a struggle trying to figure out where I wanted to do my project, and I was notified about your shelter, and I tried to take it there, and I put a lot of work into this, like getting the materials, designing the beds, getting all of the materials together, and actually directing people to make them, and then finally delivering them. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to be able to perform my project and be able to work towards achieving the rank of Eagle.
thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks for your service.
Hey, Vaughn, I have a sign in my office that says, we know what the problems are, but it's really good to be part of the solution. And truly, thank you for being part of the solution. Okay. Thank you. All right, next on our presentations, Ms. Julianne Young, Deputy County Administrator, Countywide Projects Update.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just to reiterate, the project update given this morning is meant to provide the Commission and the public an update on a handful of projects which are of most interest to the Commission, our citizens, or administration. The project list is not intended to be an all-inclusive list of every project or initiative underway by all county departments. If there's a particular question on a project, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be sure to provide additional information. We start again this morning with the administration. We have the CARES Act Business Assistance Program. The BOCC approved the Business Assistance Program on Friday, July 24th. Online applications went live on August 10th, and as of 12/4, the program closed to new applicants. We finished the program with 517 eligible applicants, and all but 18 returned the grant paperwork to be funded. All docs have been submitted to finance. Administration also has the CARES Act Nonprofit Grant Program going on. The BOCC approved the Nonprofit Assistance Program on September 8th. Online applications went live on September 18th. And as of 12/4, the program closed to new applicants, and we finished the program with 60 eligible applicants. All but 5 returned the grant paperwork to be funded. All of those docs have also been submitted to finance. Administration also has the CARES Act Individual Assistance Program. The BOCC Individual Assistance Program was approved on Tuesday, September 29th, and online applications went live on Friday, October 22nd. As of 12/20, We have approved 423 applications, 434 are in review, and 92 were denied. Animal Control Facility, the BOCC discussed the conceptual floor plan at the June workshop. Revisions were requested and have been completed. Public Works has completed the topo survey requested of the area. The last Animal Control Advisory Committee meeting was postponed due to lack of quorum. The next meeting is scheduled for January 11th at the training room at Planning and Development. They will be discussing the latest drawing of the 2 kennels, the actual location on the property for the new shelter, and so that it may be presented back to the BOCC afterwards. Once approval is obtained by the BOCC, the soil testing will be done for the said location. The Department of Health in Putnam County has the interior building renovation project going. The award of bid 2022 was made in October. The notice to proceed was issued December 18th, and construction is expected to be completed in May of 2021. The Melrose Library has an expansion project going. Bid 2028 was awarded at the BOCC November 10th meeting. Contract documents and payment and performance bonds are being assembled. A notice to proceed is expected in late December or early January, and project completion is estimated date of late summer in 2021. Parks and Recreation still has the Georgetown Park project going on. The pavilion, playground, and picnic table installation are complete. We are exploring options of boat ramps. Public Works has completed mowing, and Mr. Bernstein and Mr. Jardin have helped us obtain surveys delineating the wetlands. Parks and Recreation also is in part of the Flora Home Park Historic Building renovation. This is led by the Flora Home Historic Association. They continue to work under the direction of building contractor Mike Conroy. The project remains in demolition phase. Interior demolition of both structures is complete. Fundraising efforts are ongoing. The Flora Home Association is proud to announce that they were recently awarded a $30,000 gift grant from Vulcan Material Company. The Planning and Development Department has the comp plan update ongoing. On January 13th of 2021, the Planning Commission is scheduled to complete its final review of the proposed changes to the goals, objectives, and policies, as well as changes to the future land use map of the county's comprehensive plan. The Planning Commission will then forward the recommended changes to the Board of County Commissioners for review and action. We also have the CitizenServe online permitting project going. The contracts were executed and we are still in implementation phase. Internal and external teams meet weekly to review and complete the implementation of modules. We are doing a data transfer with our IT department, and we expect that we are within a couple of months of going live. The Fort Gates Ferry Landing repair project is ongoing. Travis Roberts is leading this way. FDEP permit was revised successfully. We submitted some plans to FDOT for the pile load calculations. FDOT has returned some comments. Those are being reviewed and addressed and will be sent back to FDOT for final review, comment, and approval. Public Works has the Barden Bridge reconstruction project going. The pre-construction project conference was held on December 16th, and construction is expected to begin in mid-January. Public Works has Lake Susan Road Phase 2 project. FDOT has approved the final plans. FDOT concurrence has been obtained, and the bid documents are being prepared by Public Works for advertisement. St. Johns River resurfacing Palm Avenue to the CSX crossing at the Palaca Fire Station. 90% plans reviewed by Public Works and comments submitted to the designer. The City of Palaca's request regarding the road reconstruction will be presented to the BOCC during the January 2021 workshop. County Road 310 Bridge Rehabilitation Project. The award for design services was made to Civil Services. The design is scheduled to be completed by March 26, 2021. Septic to sewer conversion. The design is underway. Public Works has obtained 55% of the required utility easements, scheduled to advertise for construction by March of 2021, pending the utility easement submissions. Dirt to pave 2020. Halifax is scheduled to begin construction January 4th, and the remaining roads are scheduled to be awarded and contracts obtained December 22nd. East Putnam drainage and flooding mitigation. The bid package is in process. Survey and TCEs required for the work within state-owned properties Plan to be submitted to the TIITF for approval in early January. 75% of the temporary construction easements have been obtained. St. John's Avenue drainage improvements, State Road 19 to County Road 309C. The design is underway. 90% plans submitted to DEO for review and approval. Supplementary agreement for the addition of $1.8 million to expand the scope of the project was approved in November at the Transportation Workshop. We are awaiting that supplemental agreement from DEO for execution. St. John's Avenue multi-use trail. The plan modifications were submitted to FDOT on December 17th of 2020. Construction is scheduled to begin after approval from FDOT. Road restriping and pavement marking project, fiscal year 20. Striping is scheduled to be completed by January 29th, 2021. East Laura Lane drainage project at the Crescent Lake Shores Drive. The quality control submittals and safety plan approved by Public Works. Construction is scheduled to begin January 4th, 2021. Tolls Road drainage, bid 2105 was on the street. It closed yesterday. An award is forthcoming. Countywide drainage improvements, design is complete. Bid documents are underway and we're scheduled to advertise for bid in February of 2021. South Palm Sidewalk, Druid Street to Silver Lake Drive. The design is underway. 90% submittals reviewed by Public Works on December 8th. Construction is scheduled to begin July of 2021. Saratoga Harbor drainage project is scheduled, the design is scheduled to be completed by February 2021, and we scheduled to advertise for construction bid March of 2021. And finally, the Sanitation Department has the Cell 4A construction project underway. The bid for construction services closed and an anticipated award is expected in January 2021. Construction is projected to start during Q1 of 2021 and is expected to take 6 months to complete. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Julianne, for that wonderful report. A lot of things going on in the county. We will be listing that on our website, correct? So if you saw something on there that, or heard something and you weren't familiar with it, check our website. Commissioner Turner.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just wondering, we received an email a couple of days ago about the SCOP and scrap cycle, and it's almost time to submit. Could anybody, I'm not allowed to talk to a commissioner about this except during a meeting is why I'm bringing it up. Is there a possibility that the SCOP or the scrap would cover that area over that we've been discussing, Riverside Estates area, which is Fisherman's and Paradise Point, the place where the county had promised them a few years ago they'd pave, then they decided to put in sewers, and we got the grants for the sewers they're put in. I wonder if we could apply for one of those grants.
Commissioner Turner, can I call Mike Rodriguez up? I believe we have projects out a few years, but Mike, you might want to address
5 years.
what years we're looking at now.
Okay. I was going to bring those recommendations to the January workshop, but I just looked at the eligibility, and it is eligible, but just keep in mind that it's not for, it won't be constructed until 2023 or 2024. So if we were to do that, there would be a delay on the paving process. So.
Okay.
If we, if I may, Mr.
Yes, you
Chairman,
may, sir.
if we decided to do this and we were given the grant for 23 or 24, and we decided somewhere in between now and then to do part of it, would it make it ineligible for us to get the final monies to finish the project?
I would have to ask them about that, and I can let you know.
Well, that would be a big difference, because, you know, I think several of the commissioners are, from past comments in meetings, we're going to try to start something in the area whenever we can fund it. But if we wouldn't want to start something and fund one of them, or the main artery road or whatever, and then turn around and make it where we don't get a SCOP grant in 3 years to be able to fix it for real.
Yes, sir, I understand. And when we submit it, we'll have a prioritized list. So, but I'll email them, and hopefully I can get an answer by the workshop this afternoon. But.
Okay. Well, as long as we did it in this cycle, we're fine.
Okay.
Mr. Adams, that?
So along the same lines as Mr. Turner, we did talk about doing maybe some alternative things. If we did the alternative things, like did some raising of the level and some stone work and some things like that, that wouldn't affect the paving grant, would it, per se? If we were just trying, because that's really trying to remedy a situation that's active.
Yeah, so I have spoke to the engineer about that possibility. The only risk involved would be that the lime rock that you would put down to raise the road could become contaminated, so it might have to be replaced if you tried to pave over it. So that would be one thing to keep in mind. So if we were to try to raise the road with lime rock, it may need to be replaced. I can't guarantee that we can utilize that same lime rock for paving.
Same base, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Appreciate it. Thank you
Mr. Chairman, if I could,
Yes, you can.
I wonder if it wouldn't be in our best interest just to go ahead and move forward as money allows in looking at the drainage out there first, figuring out the solution, and then starting to work towards an ultimate end, and instead of waiting out, putting it out there 3 or 4 years.
Well, there's also other avenues that we could do, and some of that could be where we start the project, we get the grant, county pays for it with a reimbursement letter from the state if they have the funding. There's a lot of things that we could do, but I think all things would be on the table. Mr. Turner, you had your light on next?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe you just answered what I was gonna say,
Okay,
is that
good.
we just don't wanna leave any options off the table.
Mr. Adamsack?
My light is off now.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Julianne. We're going to go to our consent agenda, and we have items A, C, D, E, F, and G. Commissioners, Commissioner Rawls, anything you want to pull?
Item G, the union contract.
I'm sorry?
I think it's item G, the union contract.
Okay. Commissioner Pickens?
I have none.
Commissioner Adamsack?
None.
Commissioner Turner?
I have none additional, sir.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion on the items that did not get polled.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda items A, C, D, E, F.
Second.
We have a proper motion by Commissioner Turner, proper second by Commissioner Adamsack. Any further discussions on items A, C, D, E, and F? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, the ayes have it. Commissioner Rawls, you have the floor on item G.
So I received this yesterday afternoon when I got home, and I've not had a chance to read through the whole thing, but I did fall asleep at about page 45 or 50. But in all seriousness, though, and I discussed this morning with our legal counsel, I realize that we want to get this pushed through, that the unions ratified it, and it's taken a long time to get here, but in a rush to get this through, we have some, and they may be minor issues, I don't know, but like if you look on page 22, it says, it will be assured that the students will not enter or exit through the fire rescue side of the building. But this has nothing to do with the union contract, and there's no relevance to the word students. They don't apply to this. So I just wonder, there's formatting issues, there's some spelling mistakes. I just wonder if we shouldn't take another look at this, get it corrected before we send it out. And also, this is really only going to be in effect for about a year, and then we're going to turn right back around and go renegotiate again. I'm just wondering why we can't have a 3-year contract, and with as much time has been taken on this, why it can't be a 3-year product.
Okay. But Commissioner Rawls, it seems like the union has ratified it and they're ready to move forward. Maybe we can address those concerns at the next go-round at that point. Maybe they can come back with a multi-year.
Well, this is a 3-year contract, but 2 years are already burned through, basically.
Right.
And
Mr. Suggs, would you like to make?
Yeah, we can fix any of the material changes, the typos, formatting, and things of that nature without any substantive changes. So moving forward with that would not be an issue here today.
All right. Any further discussion on item G? The chair will entertain a motion.
I do have a question.
Okay, Mr. Pickens?
To answer his question, is this for 3 years headed from now, or is it one year? Like you said, this has taken a while for it to be brought to this point.
The union agreement goes in 3-year terms. And I know it just turned, I think, I don't have it sitting in front of me. I think it goes, is it to September 30th of 2022? So it's in essence a 2-year agreement, because it's going all the way into next year. We had to start negotiations early, but I mean, it does, yeah, I mean, it's just caught in 3-year cycles. I mean, we can take it back to the union and ask them for a 3-year agreement. I don't know if they'll have issues with it or not. We were just trying to maintain and stay inside that 3-year cycle, because they went all the way back to their contract in 2016, or whenever the last time one was ratified. So we're just trying to stay inside that 3-year range, because it's always ran in a 3-year contract, so we're trying to stay inside those 3-year ranges that they've always done in the past.
Commissioner Turner. I'm sorry, Commissioner Rawls, you were next.
I mean, you'll start negotiating in less than 2 years, is my point. About a year out, you'll be negotiating again.
That's correct.
It's, just seems like as much time has been spent on this. Is there, in your estimation, would the union agree to a 3-year contract starting October 1st of this year?
They may, I'd have to refer that to the union. I mean, I can't answer that question for them. I mean, as the administration, I'd absolutely be in agreement with it, but I mean, they may have a difference of opinion, so I can't answer that question for them.
Commissioner Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is just my opinion, but I think that we need to go ahead and ratify the contract that's brought to us by our chief and our executive director of fire services. You know, they've been working on this a long time, and they finally got together and they finally got it ratified by the union. I just think it's time to put this to bed and go through the next cycle. I mean, if there's a typo or something that needs to be changed, let's change it. But as far as the meat and potatoes in this, it's gone all the way through. We haven't had a contract around here, a fire contract, in many years, I don't believe. And so I think we need to take the recommendation of Mr. Grimes and staff and the negotiating committee, and being ratified by the union. I think we need to move this forward today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Commissioner Rawls.
I don't have a problem with what I've read. I went for the meat and potatoes first, management rights, labor package and all that. I just, having done this before, it's just frustrating to me that we've taken a little over 4 years to get to this point, and then we're going to turn right back around, be in this position a year from now, and the whole contract comes open for negotiations, correct? We're not talking opening one or two articles.
Whatever
We're talking the whole
articles.
thing, whatever they-
The wage and agreement can be opened every year for negotiation.
But I mean,
The whole contract comes open at the point whenever it expires in 2022, October 1st of 2022.
Me personally, I'll vote to approve this, but I personally would rather see us slow this thing down a little bit, get the language correct, get this as a polished item that we can present.
I agree with you, but to answer your question about the students, that was a concern that was brought up from the union many years ago. That's because they did not want students from a college coming through their barracks area to enter their stations. So that we went through that particular policy, and we did answer that question for them. They just didn't want them to be able to have access to enter from the outside straight through their barrack area where all their personal belongings are. They wanted to actually use the main entrance door. So,
My point is this: if I'm reading this, and I'm reading as a layperson, remember this in my life. I'll just start at the top. It says, work rules that apply to daily cleaning shall apply to the cleaning of living quarters of the employees only. Then it describes the areas they must clean, and shall not apply to the cleaning of management living quarters or offices, and shall not apply to the cleaning of administrative office in any way. It will be assured that students will not enter and exit through the fire rescue side of the building. And it's like, where do students come in? And to me, it would, a little bit of clarification, if students are present, because I don't know why students would be present at a fire station unless they were like
they're referencing to like
EMS
a
or fire
paramedic
students.
student coming in for their rides.
Right. So it's just
referenced
a little
as a student.
confusing, that's all. And then I'm still thrown off by the formatting. I don't know if this is being changed up by PDF converters from Word document to, from PDF to Word. Somebody's printed it, scanned it, whatever, but just have this thing as a polished product at the end that we can present and take some of that stuff out, that's all. Just, there's some ambiguities in there that confuse me, but I'm not gonna vote against this.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably a 20-year-old contract that's been through several different formattings, so we have to go back. We can definitely go back through and retype it. That's not an issue.
Well, we look forward to it in
Okay,
the future.
Thank you.
Board, what's your pleasure?
You want me to make a motion?
I
I'll
don't
make a
care,
motion
I'll
that we approve it.
do it.
I'll make a
I
motion
move
we approve
approval of item G on the consent agenda.
Okay. All right, we've got a proper motion by Commissioner
I'll
Turner.
second it.
Proper second by Commissioner Pickens. Any further discussion on item G? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, and this is passed. Next item is item 7 on your agenda, codes enforcement fine reduction case. Mr. Moore, you taking that one?
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, sir.
I have address 110 Willow Street, Interlachen, Florida. The owner's name is M.E. McDougal. The violation was an unsafe mobile home. The original fine amount was $125,693.50. The property owner has demolished the unsafe structure and cleaned the property and is now requesting a fine reduction. If the board approves, we recommend the reduced fine to be paid within 90 days, and the total cost of enforcement action is $2,545.
Thank you. Board, any questions for Mr. Moore on this item? All right, Mr. McDougall, is he in the audience?
He's not here, sir.
He's not there? Okay. Board, what's your pleasure on this item?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir, Mr. Rawls.
Make a motion that we reduce the administrative monthly fees by $1,730. I believe that'll leave a remainder of $615 to be paid within 90 days.
I think it's 800.
815, 16, oh, you're right, 850.
Yeah.
What was the amount again?
$815 if paid within 90 days.
I'll second that.
A proper motion by Commissioner Rawls, proper second by Commissioner Turner. Any further discussion on the matter? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Adamsack, did you vote aye? Aye. Okay, thank you for the record.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right. I was just making sure. Clerk of the Court, Mr. Tim Smith.
We have no further items today, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Appointments. We go right to appointments. I'll start with Commissioner Rawls.
I do have one. Ms. Cindy D. Agustin has submitted an application to serve on the Animal Services Committee. I'd like to put her on that, replacing Darlene Crow, whose term expired.
Who was that again?
Cindy, C-Y-N-D-Y.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, Commissioner Pickens?
Yeah, on the Planning Commission, I'd like to renominate Tom DeSantis for another term for a district appointment.
Okay,
And then also on the Zoning Board of Adjustment, I'd like to nominate for a District 1 appointment, Mr. Earl Bellinger for another term. And I'd like to make the recommendation of at-large, and make this motion of, to renominate Ron West for another term.
okay, that's going to take board action, so you've heard Commissioner Pickens would like an at-large Ron West, so he's moving that forward. Do we have a second?
I don't think you have to have a second for a nomination, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, well, are we unanimous on Ron West serving?
I agree.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's unanimous, so Ron West, thank you, Commissioner Pickens. Is that all?
That's all.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'd like to appoint Jerry Hafner as the District 3 representative on the Planning Commission. I would like to nominate Joe Roberts as the at-large on the Planning Commission. If you want to vote on that one.
Okay. Commissioners, you've heard Joe Roberts as a at-large. Anybody have a problem?
I'm good with that.
Okay, unanimously it goes forward. Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to also nominate Susan Roberts as the she's the current chairman, I believe, as another at-large member on the Planning Commission.
Okay, I concur. Everyone else?
Yep.
All right. Mr. Adamsack?
I guess I have a few appointments. Planning Commission.
Wait a second, I was doing
Oh,
Susan
yes,
Roberts.
yes,
I'm sorry.
yes.
You concur? Okay, good.
I think she did, I actually was at the meeting, the last meeting, and she did a great job.
Yeah, she's very good. Commissioner Turner? you have
That's
any-
all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Adamsack? No, you're fine.
He's moving on. Planning Commission, same thing. I appoint Ken Schwing. I think that's an
Okay.
appointment. District 5 Waterway and Trails, we did verify that Gay Epperson wanted to resign, so I would like to appoint Zach Landis.
You stole my appointment. Okay, that's fine. I'll find somebody else then.
Zoning Board of Adjustment, I would like to keep Mark Fisher as the District 5 representative on that board.
Okay,
I think he does a great job there.
all right.
And that would close out mine.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Then we have no further actions on that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Roll.
Lindsay Lambert's coming up for renewal. Her term expires next week on Parks and Rec at large. I'd like to reappoint her if we can.
Can you hang on to that just for a moment?
Sure.
Okay, because we're going to get back to that in just a second. County Administrator Terry Suggs.
Yes, sir. Just a few comments here this morning. Without running the risk of bringing it back up, I would like to take the opportunity while they're here to thank our fire rescue folks who are sitting in the back of the room this morning, and President Bo Cox for his leadership and work on getting this union agreement through. Public Safety Director Chief Grimes and Fire Chief Chad Hutchison as well, and all the members of the fire committee that served. This is a monumental day for us, and I appreciate your efforts on that and look forward to continuing to work to build our fire rescue throughout Putnam County. So thank you, Mr. Cox and Chief Grimes and Chief Hutchison for that. You know, it's the end of the year, so a couple of also further thank yous if I could. I'd also like to thank the newspaper and Sarah for reaching out as often as she does to get information and report here on the things that are happening here in Putnam County, and for her diligence and for the respect that she has for staff, and we appreciate that, Sarah. I know you stepped in and things are a little rough at first, but you got your footing underneath you, and I think the level of communication between my staff and you, and it's been good. So again, thank you for that. And I agree. And certainly, Mr. Smith, your leadership to me for the last 3 years, from actually longer than that, sir, but for 3 years here, I'm going to miss that very much. And please do not delete my cell phone number from your phone, and do not give away my seat on the golf cart, sir. I'm probably going to need it from time to time. So, and thank you for that. And to my commission and my staff, it's been a tough year. Pandemic hit us. We didn't know what to expect, but I think we've done a great job. We didn't shut down services that were essential. I'm very proud of that, and I'm very proud of the work that our staff has done and the way that they've stepped up this year. And our attorney, Mr. Commando, has been an invaluable confidant to me. And I just want to say it's been great working with the 5 of you as well as the staff, and Merry Christmas to all. And Mr. Chairman, that will end my comments for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Suggs. Mr. Commando.
Sure you all have seen, but there's some good news with the federal stimulus package that was approved. Unfortunately, there will be a good amount of aid that's coming down to individuals within our county as well as small businesses. So hopefully that'll be a very Merry Christmas for them, and they'll be able to roll that out quickly. Other than that, I'm available for questions as you always have.
Mr. Commando, did I understand correctly? I think Chris Doolin sent it out that the CARES Act was extended for a year at this point?
You know what? I did not read that. I was more focused on the PPP tax deductibility for those loans, which is huge for a lot of our businesses.
Well, we've already allocated all of our funds, so, but it might be good that we can revisit some of that. Small County Coalition did report that on their newsletter this morning, so that was a good thing. All right, next thing we're going to go to Commissioner comments and request. Commissioner Rawls, you have item A, and then do your other requests, and we'll go down the line.
All right, at the last Waterways and Trails meeting, Ken Mahaffey's served for a long time on that, and he's a really important part of it. He's having some personal health issues right now, would like to remain a part of the committee, but is not able to attend the meetings. Linda Kreider has volunteered to step up in his stead, and he's agreed that would be okay if it was okay with the commission for her to serve on his behalf or in his capacity until he's able to attend the meetings again.
Okay. I don't know if our ordinance allows for someone to step in on a temporary basis. Mr. Commando, can you address that?
I didn't find a place in our ordinance that allows it. I think the person would have to resign. You'd appoint someone with the understanding that you'd expect them to resign after a certain period of time. There are some counties that have alternate provisions. However, our code doesn't include that type of provision. And that's kind of what we're talking about.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes, on top of that, I think Mr. Mahaffey is a District 3 appointment. So with that being said, if he decides to resign and
He
or
doesn't wanna
whatever,
resign.
I understand. Well, I think that our ordinance actually says that he has to have several non-excused absences, and that being sick is excused. So Like I said, that would be a District 3 appointment, not a board appointment.
One of the problems we're having is getting a quorum.
I understand, sir, but, yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Reappointment of Lindsay Lambert to the Parks and Rec at large.
Okay. Mr. Turner, are you next?
No, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm
Mr.
done.
Adams, Act.
I guess, Mr. Commando, you expressed something about, I guess, because she's related to one of the board members that she can't serve, is that correct?
Correct. So when we look at the Florida statute, there's a particular section about relatives serving on even appointed boards, and there's a Commission on Ethics opinion, which originally, the way the statute was written, it's 112-3135 under 2A. The way it was written was the actual elected member could not appoint one of their relatives. And that created some sort of controversy through the Attorney General's office, through their AGO opinions, as well as the Commission on Ethics. And then later on, the legislature amended that part of the statute, and they added a second sentence. And that second sentence says that not only can because what was happening was somebody else on the board would just appoint the family member. The second sentence now says that that relative or individual cannot accept the appointment. So they've kind of made it where it's virtually impossible for any county that has a population of over 35,000 for someone to accept that appointment. So because of that, I don't know that legally we're able to.
Can you send that statute to all of us, just so we have it?
Absolutely.
I'm sure we could find it.
So are we going to purge anybody that has any
Well,
family?
we need to talk about that.
Okay.
Mr. Adams, Act, you have the floor.
Yeah, so the further conversation is, I have been trying to attend a bunch of these committees, and there have been a few that, and Sarah's working on getting me the list, and thank you for all the work you've been doing, Sarah. I'm trying to establish which of my appointees are causing these committees to basically not have quorum. So I think in some cases it is mine. I think we remedied a couple of them here today. But as soon as I have that, I think we need to look into making sure we have quorum in all these committees, because the work can't be done without quorum. And it wastes the time of the people that show up as well, who are volunteering for these committees.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Mr. Commando, I can voice my opinion. I think that statute isn't very good for Putnam County. But I understand that we can't rewrite Florida statute. But at the same time, I mean, it's hard to find people who want to volunteer their time, and I applaud those who do, but you know, it's not like we're gaining anything from our family serving on these committees. We're not personally financially gaining, and I just have a problem with that, but you know.
If anything, it actually is a detriment, because we lose the ability to use people with particular background, skills, and experience.
I agree. Mr. Rawls, you had the.
So are we going to be purging the family members going forward? And if so, what is this going to do to the committees as far as being able to get quorums and function?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. One of my things that I have on my priority list that I was going to discuss is the committees. Back when I was chairman before, we tried to condense some of these committees, and I encourage you to read the committee books, because truly we need to clean some of this up. And I've spoken to the attorney a little bit in passing about some of the ideas I have, but I don't know if we're prepared to do that today. I think we should wait till we get to that before we make some terrible decisions that might be. I just think we should wait till we get to that point.
Well, I mean, we've eaten from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that we would have to immediately move to purge the rolls and start making corrections as soon as possible so the committees can continue to work.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, Mr. Turner, hang on a second. Mr. Pickens?
Yeah, that was my question, and I agree with Commissioner Harvey. I'm not sure I agree with this rule, but we have to follow it, because there are times, definitely when I wanted to put my brother on a board and did not do that. And now, as we just look at this, I assume since Lindsay Lambert, who is on the Parks and Recs Advisory Committee with me, we're going to lose her, and she was an excellent member, been there for about a year, so really getting a feel of what that board's all about. And I assume that we'll lose Miss Gina Sims.
Already have, so
also
that's what I was trying to say.
Right, with being Terry's daughter, so lose two solid members. And when I took this committee over 2 years ago, we really struggled to have a quorum. And then we got it where we had some new members that were interested in and brought them in, and so now we'll have to find two pretty soon, or we're going to have trouble finding a quorum. So it's a rock and a hard place here, I believe. So, but we got to abide by what the law is. So, but I hate to lose them, and then other family members that might be on some of the other committees. So,
Mr. Adamsack?
I'm in the same spirit. I think we do have to follow it to the letter. I mean, that's obvious, and it sounds like it's already happening. I guess my biggest concern is, and that I agree with you, Mr. Suggs, that we need to look at all the committee, the descriptions and all the charters or whatever we call the document that finds the committee. If I can get a copy of each of those in one packet, that'd be a great thing, because I found a few of them. Sarah sent me some of them, and I was focusing on some that were a priority to me, but I really would like to see all of them. And then move forward from there. I think maybe this is part of our discussion. We could add it to the agenda, Chairman Harvey,
Yes.
for the third.
It's going to be on.
Okay.
It's one of my priorities, so.
Fantastic, because I think our committees do a lot of work for us, and without them, I think it just wouldn't be a good thing.
I agree.
So since it's on the agenda already, I guess I don't need to ask for it to be, so thank you.
That's the committee book that was printed for me yesterday. You can have it. Okay, I'll get another. Thank you. I am allowed to give them a committee book that was printed. Yes, okay, just making sure. All right, where did Commissioner Rawls, you went? Commissioner Pickens, any comments or questions or requests?
Just want to say it has truly been an honor to serve with Tim Smith the 4 years that I've been here. And as I said at the last meeting when you had your comments, I turned to you and a few times for some advice, encouragement, and I hopefully I can still do that. Please don't delete my phone number from your phone. And I wish you well in your next endeavor. I know you'll stay involved. And come by and visit every once in a while. Also, Matt, look forward to working with you, and congratulations, you'll do a great job. Do want to thank all of our employees and our staff for a great job that they've done this year. Enjoyed working with everybody. Administrator Suggs, you said you'd always be there 24/7, and you have been, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the work that you and your staff are doing. Julianne, congratulations on your promotion, and look forward to great things from you. And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. It's been a tough year for a number of reasons, and mainly the COVID and how we've had to deal with that. And it looks like we'll continue to deal with this in 2021. But I hope everybody just has a wonderful Christmas. And as Commissioner Adamsack said in this morning's invocation, and remember that it's Jesus is the reason for this season and what he did for us that we couldn't do for ourselves, and that's to save us. So anyway, that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Pickens. Commissioner Adamsack.
Thank you again, Tim Smith. I know we haven't known each other a long time because I physically haven't been in the same county as you for a long time. I appreciate every time we've interacted over the years. It's been minimal, but you always had a calm, kind heart. You always listened. I've seen you listen to other people. I actually don't know how you do it sometimes, but I appreciate that very much, and I'm proud to have been here to vote to put your name on that building. The time of the season is Christmas, and obviously we are thankful that our God sent Jesus to die on the cross for us, and he was born in this season. That's very important to me. It's something I hold very dear to my heart. One thing I do want to say there's people for another subject that's going to be talked about after we're done talking. All of you, I mean, it's great that you guys are participating in government and that you're showing up and you're standing up for what you believe in. I think everyone should have a voice, regardless of whether I agree with what your voice is. So I appreciate that you guys consistently show up for both sides and state your what you want and what you want to see. I think we need more of that. I think a lot of you could look into what we just talked about. We're having problems filling committees and things. Find other areas as well beyond this one subject that you want to volunteer in and that you want to take part in. We're all struggling to find people for committees now that we can't, there's some relatives and stuff that are very qualified to be on these committees that can't serve any longer because we realize there's a statute. Please participate in other ways. Please participate as much as you can and get involved in our community both through voluntary and through our government access. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adamsack. Mr. Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to start out by thanking you again for allowing me the honor and the opportunity to make that presentation to the Honorable Tim Smith this morning. We've been friends, not just friends, but close friends for a long time. So it was a wonderful thing on my part also. I'd like to join Commissioner Pickens in commending staff for the fine job they've done this year. And last but not least, I'd like to wish everybody Merry Christmas. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. And I want to echo the same thoughts. First of all, Merry Christmas to everyone here in Putnam County and throughout the world, and especially those in the audience. It's a great time of year, and we can reflect on all the blessings we've had, even though we've had a very difficult 2020 and looking forward to a better 2021. I want to echo something that Commissioner Pickens said about our administrator and 24/7. Truly, you got to imagine that there's 5 type A personalities up here. And for us to have the phone number of our administrator day and night, and I'm an early riser, so 4 o'clock in the morning is normal for me to be sending out texts to people. And sometimes I forget to schedule those on my phone, and they go out and wake people up. I figure when I'm up, the world should be up. It's a great time in the morning to be up. 4 in the morning is perfect. Your mind's clear. I know Commissioner Rawls wants to have nighttime meetings. I like 4 in the morning. I am really sharp at that time.
I can't go to bed at 6 o'clock at night.
So, but just teasing. But I do want to applaud you, Mr. Suggs, for all the work and the staff that you brought on. And also, I want to say this. You know, when we look at the COVID money and the $13 million that we're right at 13 that Putnam County got, if I had 13 million, my wife says I'd be broke within a couple days because I just would give it all away. I could give away $13 million in 24 hours. I'm sure of that. But when it comes with strings on it, when it comes with all the federal government strings and the state of Florida strings, it's a lot more difficult. And knowing that it would be on the back of taxpayers if we didn't do it right, I want to applaud our staff that were basically thrown in to do COVID and rose to the challenge. And Julianne, I know you and I disagreed on some items, but you were right there leading the charge and putting the team together, and I appreciate that. So again, staff, if you're watching, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I hope you get some time off. I hope you just take a few days and just don't answer the phone and rest and relax and be with your family this time of the year. We're going to take a 3-minute recess, and then we're going to come back for public comments. Thank you. We're going to reconvene the Board of County Commission meeting for Tuesday, December 22nd. You can find your seats, please. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow the citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It is not reasonable to expect that the board will engage or debate in deliberations about matters on which the board has received no prior information as part of this agenda. Please limit to 3 minutes. Time will be kept. We will ask you if you run over to please wrap it up. Public comment cards are conveniently placed at the meeting room entrance on both sides and should be submitted prior to the deputy clerk. Ashley over here to my left, to your right, sits at the podium. And I also want to be very mindful of this board that this is an opportunity for them to speak, our citizens to speak to us as their employees, and we need to be very respectful of their time. Our first card, I will take it, I'm going to go backwards in order because Wade Alford, Mr. Alford, if you'll come up and state your name and address for the record, please. Good morning, Mr. Alford.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wade Alford, 231 Worcester Road, Pomona Park. Just want to make sure you guys saw in the legislative delegation that these warfare on monuments have now gone from Confederate issues, war between the states, whatever, to all kinds of issues, World War II, Korea, on and on. These monuments are being attacked and destroyed. This is not a singular issue. This issue is about control. My father was drafted with a crop in the field at the end of the Korean War. Draft Deferment Board wouldn't give him a deferment to let him harvest his crop. Numerous nieces and nephews. One of my closest cousins was in Beirut when the barracks were blown up. I'm a veteran, and I really do not appreciate the way this has all come down. Just be aware that this is not limited to this one issue. This is about control and power and destroying a lot of monuments to all veterans. And that's all I got to say for right now. Thank you.
Thank you for your
Thanks,
service, sir. Thank you. Next card will be Darnisha Leonard. All right. Okay, I'm going to warn you now, we're not going to have public displays, okay? Thank you, Ms. Leonard. We're going to respect your time.
All right, thank you. Good morning. My name is Darnisha Leonard, and I'm one of the co-organizers for the recent protest. Throughout history, the voices of the minority have been suppressed, overlooked, or blatantly ignored. However, they have always been resilient. They have fought for change, and because of that, we have come a long way. But there is still much to be done. Here in Putnam County, the issue of relocating the statue has brought out the hatred and racism that has always been here. At our most recent protest on Saturday, members in favor of keeping the statue at the courthouse threw up white power signs, Nazi salutes, and continued to call us, those in favor for relocation, out of our names. They threatened us with violence and at one point initiated violence when they slapped the phone out of the hand of a fellow protesters. These are the type of people who represent that statue. And does that representation deserve to be at the courthouse? I don't think so. One member even suggested protesting the name of Robert H. Jenkins for Jenkins Middle School, a veteran who gave his life to save his comrades, in response to us protesting the statue. Why would they suggest that? I don't know, but considering that they claim to support veterans, it is very odd to me. One can only assume that it's because he's a black man. This hatred and blatant racism has no place at the courthouse or in Putnam County. The stipulations surrounding raising funds for the relocation are ridiculous and unfair. If you are aware that the minority are affected by this, then you are aware that it would be a minority trying to raise funds. So no, we will not let justice be held hostage, and we will continue to protest until you present a compromise that is reasonable. Fixing the problems in Putnam County is your job, and that includes addressing racial and social justice problems. This isn't something you can ignore, and we will not let you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leonard. Thank you for your comments. Ms. Ellington, Margaret Ellington. Margaret Ellington. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't see you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Ms. Ellington.
Get my glasses. My name is Margaret Ellington. I live at 310 East Palmetto Street, Palatka, Florida. Sometime back on a BOCC Zoom meeting, I spoke a few words concerning the removal of the Confederate statue. Plus, I sent an email. Now I'm here again concerning the same matter. This is a reason some minorities give up or won't speak out because they think it's hopeless. I can feel how some think because here we are again on the same subject with harsh conditions added. I'm here this morning to ask you to reconsider these harsh conditions that you tacked on to your previous vote on the removal of the Confederate statue, raising $200,000, 3-month time period. The funds have to be raised inside the county. Why should there be a non-hero of a statue standing tall on our courthouse grounds? Why should we have a symbol that represents racism, that represents a time when some wanted black people to be human chattel instead of human beings? The removal of this statue won't erase racism. It won't give us equality, give us jobs in mass incarceration of black people. But in the end, it will be a start for hope. We need to move forward, and in order to do so, the Confederate statue must go. Treat this issue as a non-political issue. Treat it as a right issue. Please work with us on these issues. Robert E. Lee was removed from the U.S. Capitol. This no-name, non-hero can be removed from the Putnam County Courthouse grounds. I don't think anyone raised any funds in Jacksonville, Florida, or St. Johns County, so why here? I hope the BOCC take my words and others in the removal/conditions of the Confederate statue from the courthouse grounds into good spirits in which it is meant. We are a voice crying from the wilderness. Please hear us. Thank you for allowing me to speak here today.
Thank you, Ms. Ellington. Mr. Adams, would you mind if we wait till comments and we get done? Is that okay?
I'd prefer to comment.
Go right ahead.
In reference to the statue being of a non-hero, I agree that the cause of defending slavery, if that's all it was, is not just, and they lost. That's the bottom line there. As far as being a non-hero, those statues represent people that were drafted. That was the first draft ever in the history of the United States service, people that were drafted into service. Not all of those people that fought for the Confederate side wanted to fight for the Confederate side. They were forced to. So that statue represents those people that were drafted, just like the gentleman said earlier, his relatives were drafted into Korea. They were drafted to serve and forced to serve. If they didn't serve, they had consequences. There was more MIA POWs in that war than any other war in the history of the United States of America, over 400,000. That's 400,000 people from both sides that never came home, where all the graves haven't even been found because most of them were buried in the fields where they died. A lot of them died in hospitals, and a lot of them died a painful death, a long-term death. A lot of them died in prisons of the Union up in the north. A lot of them are buried outside where those prison locations are. I will not listen to, I'm going to listen to it, but I will never agree with the fact that that statue represents, no heroes, because some of the men were heroes. If you're drafted into service and you serve for what you believe in or even what you don't believe in, like Vietnam as well, you're still a hero for doing your service. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Annabelle. Next speaker is Ms. Anika Justin. Erica, I'm sorry. Yeah. The R and the I got close together, and I apologize for that.
I got messy handwriting, it's okay. Hi, my name is Erica Judson. Most people call me Ricky. I live at 118 West Washington Street out in Interlochen, Mr. Harvey. I'm here to talk about that Confederate statue. And the reason I'm here to talk about it is because it's a problem. Now, you so eloquently quoted one of your signs in your office saying that you know that there are problems, hopefully you can be part of the solution, and that's what our group is asking, is for you to help us change the situation to where it isn't a problem anymore. We're not doing this violently. We're doing this fairly. We're using our First Amendment rights, freedom of speech. We're trying to make change that will be positive not just to our community now, but to the children of our community in the future. You guys quoted the teachings of Jesus and the birth of Jesus a lot. Let me tell you, Christ never once sided with people who approve of racism. He never once sided with people who had hearts with hate in them. He never once sided with people who were openly hostile to people who trying to make peaceful change. He never sided with them. And so if you really are followers of Christ, I hope you are. If you're not, that's cool too, man. This is America. But you can't pick and choose. This is a problem that needs a solution. We're trying to figure out solutions that respect, right, those that may have been drafted that didn't believe in the times, let's say it that way. That's why we want the statue moved, not destroyed, not desecrated, moved to a place where it can be in its own right. But it does not belong on the steps of justice. It does not belong in a place where we are supposed to be seen as equals. Because even if in your hearts you don't see yourself as equal to other people, regardless of what the reason for it, we are equals, especially if you're a follower of Christ. So I think you guys should have the same leniency that you gave earlier when it came to raising huge amounts of funds and paying bills and everything else. $200,000 in Putnam County? That is a lot, man. We're one of the poorest counties in Florida. You guys have a lot to think about, and I hope that you use your hearts instead of your pursuit to keep your commissioner positions.
Thank you, Ms. Chester. Okay. Let's not do that. Mr. Adams, can we keep our comment?
No, I don't wish to.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'd like to address that as well.
As a Christian, I'll say both groups have raised this statue to a level, in my opinion, that makes it an idol. That was never the intention of why that statue was placed here. It was placed to remember people. So that's my view as a Christian of the statue and the subject. I think it's been driven to too high of an attention getter for the community. And again, it's a small part of the community that actually is super active in both sides for the statue or against it. As far as the money raised, you guys had a group, Common Ground, that came and started this. They're some of the biggest political fundraising group in the county. I'm obviously not worried about being reelected if I'm going to call them out. So if you had the biggest fundraisers in the county politically behind you, where are they now? Thank you.
All right, we're not going to debate. Mr. Adamsack has the floor. Mr. Adamsack has the floor. Thank you, Mr. Adams. Mr. Rawls.
The last speaker, Ms. Erica, had said that this is a First Amendment rights issue, and she's correct. But she also has to understand, we all have to understand that there's multiple sides to this issue. Right now, we're sitting in a room divided, literally, left and right. But both sides want what they want. At the beginning of this issue, I sought counsel from our attorney, and I asked him if this rose to the occasion of being a legislative issue, it needed to be settled by the commission. And his advice to me was to stay out of it. This is a citizens' issue. The citizens need to decide this. The commission can't decide this, and no matter what we do, all we're going to do is upset someone. So we either upset the right side or the left side or the folks in the middle. Either way, this isn't about getting elected or reelected. I take personal offense to anybody that thinks that way. If you want to know how I feel, come into this meeting every other Tuesday, every second Tuesday and fourth Tuesday of each month, and you'll learn how I feel. I don't care if I get elected, reelected, or not. I wasn't looking for a job when I was asked to help Mr. Harvey on this commission. I'm telling you right now, this issue should have never been brought before the commission. It should have been put on the ballot that we just voted on and let you guys decide what you want. Black, white, Hispanic, whatever, everybody would have had a voice.
Please
So,
let Mr. Rawls speak.
as far as veteran, I'm the other veteran on this commission, and I do take offense to the fact that somebody wants to say that's a faceless monument. Because when I signed up for a contract that potentially had no end. So, you know, if you want to get my favor, don't come up here and get in my face and just spew things that are going to anger me and start talking bad about veterans of America. This is a citizens initiative. This is not a commission initiative. I'll sit here all day long. You pay me to listen, I'll listen. But at the end of the day, my comment was either stays where it is or let the public vote on this. And we're 2 years away from another election cycle. I personally would like to see this settled then. And in between then, these groups that we're talking about get together and start forming solutions and not problems. You know there's a problem, you know there's a solution. If the solution on one side is to move it and the solution on the other side is to leave it, then you don't have a viable solution. But that's all I have to say at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Rawls. Next speaker will be Sheila Beck. Ms. Beck.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Sheila Beck. I live in Palaca. I really didn't think I'd be here again over this. I thought that it was ended. We lost. We were okay with that. Then Tavell Adams comes home from school, and within 4 days, we're hit with another rally. Then 2 days after that, we're hit with this. They got what they wanted. They asked y'all for relocation. They got it. Why are we here? You all said at the last meeting, it's done. It will never come back before the board. Done. We're not done. It's getting ridiculous. You come home from school, you start a rally 6 days before Christmas. Then,
Enough over there, please. Ms. Beck.
then you have Rebecca Cordova, you have
Okay.
Kevin Connor over here, Antifa, BLM. Outside, they're telling me it's okay to wear a Black Lives Matter shirt, but if I wear a White Lives Matter shirt, I'm a racist. I don't understand, and then I got to listen to him tell
Okay.
me that I am.
Speak to us, Ms. Beck, please.
So, this has,
I'm not going to have that. We're going to show respect or we're going to leave the building. One or the other is fixing to happen. Everybody needs to show respect, and I mean that. Thank you. Ms. Beck, continue, please.
this has nothing to do about race. Nothing to do. I don't understand where that monument says that it is against black people. I don't understand that. It has not oppressed any of this community. And if y'all really think about this community did not have the problems until the first protest against this monument. They clearly stated that was the beginning. They're coming after more. I don't know what more they want. What more can y'all give them? You gave them the relocation. Either ante up or shut up. Like, this is ridiculous. How much more time is it going to take of the community? Because they're going to keep coming out, and we're not going to just let them keep running. We're stand your ground for a reason. We're not backing down. They're not backing down. We offered a compromise. We had the money. We had the money. We offered the money. Some of you had offered the money for a compromise. And I specifically remember Mr. Turner, or Commissioner Turner, asking, would that work? He got a head shake no.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Beck.
Y'all have a great Christmas.
You too.
I
Thank you.
hope it's over. I really do.
Well, look, let me say this.
Sure.
It's not on the agenda.
Yes,
This
sir.
is public comments only. People can say whatever they want during public comment. It is not an agenda item. This board is not taking it up. It's public comment time. Thank you, Ms. Beck. Next speaker will be Lynn Hoffman. Lynn Hoffman?
I apologize.
That's
I'm
okay,
a little
Mr.
deaf.
That's all right. Go right ahead.
Actually, a lot deaf.
Speak as loud as you can into the microphone, if you don't mind.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. Last meeting, I believe you did the right thing, albeit a poor compromise for a vote, for relief, for at least relief for the taxpayers. I don't want my taxes moving a monument that represents multitudes of passed away soldiers. Not only that, their families passing away of starvation. Now, you've got other monuments there. Every monument has a name. They're from Putnam County. They're Southerners also. Well, I'm a Southerner. I want to see my monument stay like you want to see the other Vietnam, World War II, World War I. 1924, private funds, payers gifted our monument, our memorial, excuse me. It's not just a monument, it's a memorial to those who fought for their and our country. They were Americans also, albeit Confederacy States of America. The county accepted it in perpetuity. They were people like you that accepted the monument. It wasn't going to leave then, and it should not leave now. As the men who died keeping us free, our Southern heroes were and are Americans, the Confederate States of America. Why do they discriminate against our soldiers? It's my heritage. Now, last Saturday I was handed this list of their dirty laundry. This is for several years from the monument and slightly before of things that happened bad. Give me a month of newspapers in Putnam County and I can write you a book. I have much more to say, but I have 3 minutes.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Next speaker, Mary Murphy. Oh, yes, Mr. Adamsack, I'm sorry, I did not see your light on.
I apologize for interrupting all the time, but I'm going to say this real clear. There's good people on both sides of this. I've met with people on both sides. I'm saddened that the name calling and the things, and I watched videos of both sides from this weekend. I unfortunately couldn't be there. I've been to all of them except for this one. My main intention when I go is to pray for peace and to pray that it goes well. So far they have gone well. But there were definitely people on both sides this weekend that were saying nasty things in the background of those videos, and it wasn't just one side or the other. There's people that have come before this board, before I was here and after, that have said nasty things sitting at the podium. You're allowed to say whatever you want. That is your First Amendment right, and I'm going to listen to it. But we will never find unity if people continue to just say nasty things about one another in different groups. I pray every day that both groups find a means to get away from that part of it if possible.
Thank you, Mr. Adamsack. Mary Murphy.
Good morning, honorable commissioners, and welcome to the new commissioner, Mr. Adamsack. I speak not only for myself, but for a couple of friends who, due to illness, are not able to be here, but I'll keep it short. At the workshop, you gave the disgruntled residents who want the monument moved a chance to raise the money. They don't want to raise the money. They want the citizens of Putnam County to pay for it. Our tax dollars. We are not Duval County. We are not St. Johns County. We are one of the poorest counties in the state. And frankly, we can't afford all of this. All that side seems to want to do is to make demands on the working class people who are satisfied that the monument isn't hurting anything or anyone. What are these folks giving to Putnam County? Seems like they are only taking and demanding, not contributing anything to the common good. Please do not give in to their demands. Please stand your ground and insist they pay up or shut up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Next speaker will be Travell Adams. Thank you. Or thank you for wiping that down as we go. Mr. Adams, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Travell Adams. I am one of the co-organizers of the recent protests and rallies this year. On the left side of the Confederate statue, it reads, "The principles for which they fought will live eternally." The principle that the Confederacy fought for is slavery. It didn't take a ballot for the Confederate statue to be put up, but it doesn't take a ballot for the statue to be put down and moved and relocated. I believe that a statue supporting human bondage does not belong on the steps of justice. I am here to comment on the unfair and unethical stipulations the Putnam County Board of County Commissioners, BOCC, has tasked its private citizens. Those stipulations are raising $200,000 from within Putnam County and in 90 days. I believe that these stipulations are illegal, and we are currently working on taking legal action due to them being suppressive on a group of private citizens. I also believe that all 5 Putnam County Commissioners know that these obstacles are almost impossible to achieve and gave them to us so that we won't complete the task given, and so that the Putnam County BOCC can say that the Confederate statue is not being moved, not because of them, but because the people that want the Confederate statue moved didn't raise this outrageous amount of money, which unfortunately drags this ongoing issue in our community again. The Putnam County BOCC's plan was to set us up for failure so that they won't have to make a concrete decision that cannot be reversed. Therefore, I do not accept and do not appreciate the decision made by the Putnam County Board of County Commissioners. The Putnam County BOCC didn't give realistic stipulations for the relocation of the Confederate statue at the Putnam County Courthouse. The spokesperson for Stand Your Ground Putnam, Sheila Beck, has recently agreed to move the Confederate statue from the Putnam County Courthouse. According to Palaca Daily News, Beck stated, "The Board of County Commissioners decided and gave them what they wanted, and we are okay with that. If the Putnam County BOCC agrees to move it, Stand Your Ground Putnam agrees to move it, and we all agree to move it, why are the stipulations to move it unreasonable? We voted the 5 of you to make important decisions in Putnam County. Right now, the Putnam County BOCC isn't taking responsibility, and we will continue to disrupt your economy and tourism with protests and rallies until reasonable, ethical, and fair stipulations are put in place to move the Confederate statue from the Putnam County Courthouse, and a final, realistic decision is made that cannot be reversed. I formally and gracefully request that the Confederate statue be put on the Putnam County BOCC's agenda for a vote of the aforementioned remarks. Thank you."
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Mr. Commando, you just heard that we were threatened with a lawsuit for legal things happening. I'm a little concerned about at this point. How do you want to proceed?
Until I see a lawsuit, I mean, many places that I've been, lawsuits are threatened. Until I see that and know what the cause of action is, I can't adequately advise the board as to what you should do going forward.
Thank you, Mr. Rawls, you have the floor.
I just want to say, you know, I could appreciate Mr. Adams' I can appreciate Mr. Adams' enthusiasm, putting it kindly, but to sit here and make threats against the community isn't going to do anybody any good. I personally don't appreciate the fact that you would represent a group that would come in here and try to hold siege an economy, as you put it, in any way, shape, fashion, or form. But if that's your First Amendment right as you see it, good luck with that, sir. Otherwise, again, this is a citizens' issue that needs to be settled by the citizens, not by this commission.
Thank you, Mr. Rawls. Next speaker, Dr. Carol S. Full.
Thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Dr. Carol Foyle. I am a retired university professor. I moved to Putnam County 8 years ago to be near my grandson, and because I fell in love with this river when I was seeking advanced studies at University of Florida.
Go Gators.
You probably know many people like myself who've retired and live along the river. It's kind of like a mini retirement community, and I think this is the kind of development that this county, gentle development that this county would like to encourage. Until this weekend, my social media has been filled with pictures of the beautiful river, the birds on it, and the beautiful sunsets. However, Saturday, I, believing in justice, decided to participate in a demonstration. And during that demonstration, I had a person come up to me right into my face without a mask on and tell me I was a disgrace to the white race. Really, in the 21st century, I hear something like that right in my face. So I reported that on social media, along with a picture of myself with my little sign. And I have colleagues and friends all over the world in academia and in science. I heard from almost 150 people after I made that post. People from Australia, from Canada, from the United Kingdom, from Arizona, from California, from Indiana, and many people whence I came of Louisiana. Is this really the picture that you want to put forward, Putnam County, as we move into the 21st century? People who say that they aren't representing a racist point of view, I would ask you then why I was watching people make the white power signal with their hand right at these fine young college people as they were demonstrated, some of the people that have spoken here today. This is not a pretty picture. I'm a newcomer here, but I already love this place, and I think you really need to take a hard look at where this community is going. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, Julie Thayer. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for having us speak.
Could you speak right into the microphone?
My name is Dr. Julie Thaler. I'm a resident of Putnam County and a retired dentist. I am neither a rebel rouser nor an outside agitator. I come here with a desire for peaceful understanding and resolution of a problem causing great harm and distress to a significant number of people in our community. These are my friends and our neighbors, and I must speak up against what I see as gross injustice and unfairness. I come before you to acknowledge that there are many common concerns and problems that need to be addressed in this county, and I'm guessing we could agree on what many of those problems are and how they might be addressed. I think first, we need to find a way for more constructive dialogue, to try to discover ways to understand, to communicate, and to work together to build a better and more inclusive community for all. A productive first step would be to remove the symbol of aggression, hatred, and exclusion that stands in our public square. Admittedly, in our current state, it's hard to see how we get there from here. What I witnessed at Saturday's protest and at a prior event in Melrose a few weeks ago was frankly appalling, deeply disturbing, and troubling to my heart. There have been and are a number of members of the Melrose Patriot Group and the Palatka Stand Your Ground groups who, while professing their deep Southern roots in Christian faith, spoke and acted with such ugliness, vitriol, anger, hatred, and judgment, using tactics of intimidation and aggression against those of us who are exercising our constitutional rights to lawfully assemble and to speak against what we view as a gross display and a reminder of the way that racism persists in Putnam County. We have been intentionally coal-rolled, engulfed by large plumes of exhaust by big diesel pickup trucks called nigger lovers, lesbians, sodomites, adulterers, Antifa, socialist, communist, George Soros lovers, the devil, the Antichrist. We've been told to kill ourselves, to fuck ourselves, to go to hell,
Doctor,
to burn
stop.
in hell. These words,
Stop right now.
these words,
Not going to use that language in this auditorium.
let me tell you, this is what
That
I was
I
heard.
will
This
not
is what
tolerate
these
that
said
language
that.
to be used in this auditorium. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do, and let me continue,
Okay,
please.
you may continue, but do not use that language again,
I
or
am
you'll be asked to
using
leave
the words
this
that I
building.
heard.
I don't care. I don't need to hear that. I don't speak like that, and I don't appreciate you bringing that language into this auditorium. Do I make myself clear?
I hear you, sir.
Thank you.
Please listen to me. Please listen to us.
Do not use those words again.
I will not. These words seem to be the opposite of professed Christian principles. We seem to have lost all civility and the ability to care for each other, sir. As I recall from my reading of the scriptures, in Galatians 5:22 to 23, says the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-respect. We are also called first to love our God with all of our hearts, minds, and souls. The way that we are to do this is to love our neighbors as ourselves. What part of these words do we not understand? On this, the week of Christmas, perhaps we can begin to speak
time's
and
up.
behave and listen in a manner that is more respectful and in alignment with what we profess to
time's up.
believe.
Thank
It
you.
is time to move the statue and
time
begin
is up.
reconciliation, healing dialogues, and for us to work together.
Your time's up. Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Mr. Adamsack, you
Merry
had your light.
Christmas. Y'all,
You may sit down.
thank you.
Mr. Adamsack? No, we're not going to clap over that kind of language being used in this auditorium. Mr. Adamsack?
When any group in any society allows a piece of iron to stop dialogue, there's a serious problem. And if you can't have dialogue because there's a piece of metal and concrete existing somewhere in the county, that's a problem across the board for everybody. Just like I said before, we're allowing this statue to become an idol, and that was never its intention. So everyone's doing that on both sides of the issue. Again, like I'm saying, dialogue needs to occur. I don't know what reaching out's been done between the two groups. It sounds like there's been some. There needs to be more. If we need to facilitate, if I need to facilitate, let me know. Reach out to me, both sides. I'll arrange a meeting. We'll run a hall and we'll have a talk. Maybe that takes 5 hours of sitting down together and talking through it. There's a lot more issues in this county that go beyond the statute. There's a lot more issues for both sides. There's economic issues. There's all kinds of other things. Why aren't we working on them in parallel? All right, I'm all for everyone speaking their word and speaking what they believe in and what they stand for. What I saw in the videos from both sides this weekend was terrible, and I agree. Some of that she said was said. I heard it in the background of the video. Some of it was said similarly on the other side, though. So it wasn't a unilateral thing. I heard videos on both sides, man. But we got to get together on other things in this community. If one leader from each side could contact me, I will facilitate a conversation, and we'll get this started. It has nothing to do with the statute. We need to separate ourselves from that at some point.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Mr. Rawls?
You know, I just, my knee-jerk reaction to your language a little while ago was just to get up and take a deep breath and grab a soda. But, you know, Jesus also said to turn the other cheek. That's what really needs to be done here, like Commissioner Adamsack is talking about. I've said it here publicly, and I'll say it again. I don't think there's anybody on this dais that's experienced any more prejudice in life than I have. You know, I grew up in a completely different way.
Let Mr. Rawls speak, please.
You know, and for those of you who don't know me, you just don't know, you don't know the mile, that you've never walked a mile in my shoes. But growing up in foreign countries as an American expatriate is not a lot of fun when you're a kid. You get beat on for no reason. You get spit on for no reason, only because you're an American, not even because of the color of your skin necessarily. I know what it's like to be prejudiced. But I also know what it's like to know joy, no matter where I lived, to know that I could assimilate in the culture and not have to be fearful, not have to have a terrorist group come before me and make threats, not have to threaten a community in any way, shape, fashion, or form. I, for one in this room, am fairly colorblind. I would have to say that the majority of the people that work in my company are not white. I don't have an issue with black or white. It doesn't matter to me what your skin color is, you know, but, and what we're seeing right here is an eclectic mix of individuals who have an opinion, but what I haven't seen is where the better part of 37,501 people have come forward and said, we want this thing gone. What I hear is a small group saying move it, another small group saying if they want to move it but let them pay for it. The taxpayers are saying don't pay a dime to move it, and that's what we're trying to represent here. Do I agree with the $200,000 price? I don't know. I think it's a bit heavy, but it's going to cost money, and it's not going to be $15,000 or $20,000. It's going to take a lot of money to move that thing, and it has to be moved in such a way that it's not damaged or destroyed. You know, and if somebody's looking at saying, hey, we can throw 20 grand at this thing and pick it up and move it and not worry about whether or not it gets destroyed, that's not the right way to look at it either. This is a very complex issue. Like Commissioner Adamsack said, both sides need to come to the table with viable solutions that are going to satisfy, in my opinion, what half the community wants or more. Because that's what we're talking about. Not 100 people sitting in a room right now. You don't represent the majority of the public. You represent yourselves. You represent your desires and what's hot to you today. That's all that's represented here. I personally would like to hear from the rest of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rawls. Joshua Mast, you're up next, please. If you'll come up and state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, Joshua Mast. I live in East Palatka. It's good to be here. Quite frankly, I think what I was going to say is now going to be scrapped because this meeting so far is quite honestly an embarrassment in my opinion. I think it's turned into a kangaroo court, and if you can't see that this issue is no longer about a statue and about Southern heritage, then that's very sad, because this is about hatred for people that are different than one set of people. And you can smirk. I think it's very clear that you all are on the same team. However, I will say that I think that you are elected to represent everyone, not just those that voted for you. And with all due respect, I respect Commissioner Adamsack in your position. However, I think that you should recuse yourself because you were elected under a situation where nearly 30,000 registered voters were not able to have a say-so in your candidacy. And I think it's quite unfair. However, I will also say that this has not become about the statue. This is about left versus right, and the right thinking that the left is getting something that they shouldn't have. And while it did start about the statue itself and about the Confederacy, it is no longer about that anymore. And I think that if you wanted to show a gesture of good faith towards equality and respect towards minorities, and not just the black community, but the gay community in this county, then you could move that statue and reach out, go into black neighborhoods door to door and speak to those people that you don't usually do. The last meeting that we had here, when I stepped outside, I had homophobic slurs screamed at me in my face. My parents should give me up because I don't know who I am. I should F myself. I look better in dresses. If you think that that's the kind of language that's appropriate to somebody that is your neighbor, then by all means stick to your positions. Other than that, I think that this is a kangaroo court at this point, and quite frankly, it's an embarrassment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mast. Regina Conley? Regina Conley? Okay. Ms. Conley, give Mr. JR just 1 second to wipe that down, please. And again, JR, thank you for doing that. Ms. Conley?
My name is Regina Conley, and I'm a resident of Putnam County. The monument to me is personal. My great-uncle Jack Barker gave the ultimate price. He fought in the Vietnamese War. He was a helicopter pilot, and 3 times he went back in war zone to save his fellow soldiers. On the 3rd time, his helicopter was shot down. His body and his fellow soldiers was missing in action for 27 years. That monument to me, it represents all the fallen soldiers. It has nothing to do with race, and I personally would like to see it stay and other monuments added to it, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Ms. Conley. Thank you very much. Kevin Connor?
Hello. Thank you all for your service. My name is Kevin Connor. I am from neighboring Clay County. So why am I here? Because racial and social justice is not confined to geopolitical boundaries such as counties. I first want to say again, thank you. Thank you all, everyone, no matter which side of the issue you're on. I believe that these are the best Americans. Everyone here is an American. They are exercising their First Amendment right. And so I just want to say thank you to that. I was here on Saturday. I am an ardent supporter of Black Lives Matter movement and the Antifa movement. That means anti-fascist in the purest sense of the word. In the purest sense of the word, the Black lives do matter. They haven't. They've always mattered to God, just not to his children equally. I am not a member of the Antifa or BLM that you may watch, and my dad watches all day on Fox News. I am a pacifist, and as such, I was here expressing my right on Saturday, and I was filming. I had a flag in one hand, and I was filming the entire time. I was attacked by Jason Christopher Davis or Jason Allen Davis of East Palatka 3 times. The Putnam County Sheriff saw it twice and did finally intervene on the 3rd one. They arrested him. I am thankful for that. They standing up, put his hands behind his back. But 8 of them did tackle me, the victim. And to this date, no one has asked for that video. So I want to talk about the statute issue. Also, as a pacifist, I want to say that these people, like, both sides can be violent, right? But that day, there was violence threatened on my person. Just a moment ago, Sieber Newsom, one of those ones who screamed white power, along with Sheila Beck and someone else, did say, "I'll see you outside," so threatened further. But this statute, I say, we talk about the cost, right? And I do believe it was rigged against those who would like to see it moved by saying, hey, you guys go raise $200,000 in 3 months. That's just passing the buck. Everyone here knows that. Even if you're saying, I believe Commissioner Rawls said, he thought maybe it wouldn't even cost $200,000, but if it was a full $200,000, that's an average with 70-something thousand people in the county. That is an average of $1.75 per person to move it. You are here, I believe someone alluded to the fact this is not just about that statue. We are having a moral reckoning here in our country on race. It's never been dealt with completely. We like to say, I'm colorblind. Racism is dead. We took care of that in the 50s and 60s when we finally let black people vote, eat in the same restaurants, right?
Connor, will you wrap it up, please?
Oh, okay. Yes, I will wrap it up. Thank you. That's your address. Commissioner Adamczyk, I'm pronouncing it right. You said military drafts, maybe this is news to you. The Nazis drafted their German soldiers too. There's not a single statue commemorating any Nazis.
Thank you,
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Connor,
you.
for your attendance today. Jenna Bernstein, next speaker. You may, Mr. Rawl. Ms. Bernstein, if you'll hang tight just for a moment, please. Rawls, you have the
Again,
floor.
As far as I know, this commission cannot legislate what's in people's hearts. if you have racist tendencies, you're going to have racist tendencies. I, for one, don't. It doesn't make me sleep better at night saying that. That's just the way I am. I can prove it in the way I live my life. If other folks want to have racism in their hearts, if they want to post things on Facebook that are of a racist nature, I can't stop that. Again, that's a First Amendment right. I think there's a lot of that on both sides of the aisle, to be honest with you, from what I've seen and heard. But I don't think, again, this commission is able to legislate what people live, believe, or feel. That's up to the individuals. That's up to the community. We can't force community healing on this community one way or another. I received an overwhelming amount of support to leave the monument where it was. Countless pages of history on that monument, and the fact that it had nothing at all to do with slavery, because Florida did not vote when they seceded from the Union. Part of their Articles of Secession did not include slavery. As a state, they didn't. So I can see both sides of the issue, but again, this is not something that this commission is ever going to be able to legislate. It's going to have to come from the public. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ralston. Ms. Bernstein, you have the floor.
Yes, hey, I thought we were a Judeo-Christian nation. I haven't heard anything about Hanukkah, so I'll go ahead and say Chag Sameach. I'm here to defend the 20,000 Jews.
Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
Post.
Well, finally.
Post. Post Hanukkah.
Now we're diverse. Now you can actually call yourselves having unity. Well, first of all, I'd like to talk about one thing. I want to talk about the narrative, the slave narrative, because I don't think people are really aware of the fact that there were 28 million Africans who were and are continually sold into slavery. The African tribes to the Barbary Coast, 9 million died in Africa. 9 million. Let's talk about the war between the states and the Union, right? The war between the states. Equal number in today's value are 6 million. 6 million. That's equal to about as many of my people that were gassed in Nazi Germany. I defy anybody who's going to call me a white supremacist when I was out there on Saturday singing, Avinu Shalom Aleichem. Do not tell me that that war memorial, I'm tired of it being called a statue, that is a war memorial for American veteran dead. In 1906, congressional law, a Confederate veteran is equal status to United States military veteran. The Veterans Affairs still creates and distributes military headstones for Confederate veterans. Period. End of story. I myself have restored 54 public war memorials. 54. I've done 12,000 military headstones from U.S. colored troops to Spanish-American War to Revolutionary War, worked with the VA. I've taken in Lakeland, that moved the war memorial with a police camera to Veterans Park. SS runes are still on it that are ghosted in it. Do you know who fixes it? Do you know who goes there with elephant snot? I do. Jacksonville, they put blood red paint, said F off Nazis. Do you know who worked with Daryl Joseph in the city of Jacksonville? I did with elephant snot. That's $500 for 5 gallons. It's still on there wrapped in a tarp. And as for Jacksonville, that monument is still up. They only took the top off of it in Hemming Park. St. Augustine, Reagan right now, the city manager, is about to allocate, how much money? Another $100,000, $200,000 to restore the war memorial that they destroyed, shipping it over to the little trout park? Coquina stucco on it? I'm going to tell you again, the silent majority in this country wants these war memorials left in place, period, end of story. I don't care what they say. This is not a totalitarian. There's not going to be people threatening. They're not going to call me a Nazi. I defy anybody that correlates a Confederate war memorial with a Nazi. You're out of your minds. It's a cancer. This is a cancer. I'm going to read Walter Reed Williams. I'm going to read this fact right here. He's a professor from George Mason. He just passed away. The flap over the Confederate flag is not quite as simple as the nation's race experts make it out to be. They want us to believe the flag is a symbol of racism. Yes, racists have used the Confederate flag, but racists have also used the Bible and the U.S. flag. Should we get rid of the Bible and lower the U.S. flag? Black civil rights activists and their white liberal supporters have attacked the Confederate flag, have committed a deep, despicable dishonor to the patriotic black ancestors who marched and fought to protect their homes from what they saw as northern aggression.
Thank you, Ms.
Black
Bernstein.
civil rights activists.
Thank you for your time today. That's the end of our blue cards. Is there anybody in the audience that has not had a chance to speak that would like? We got one more blue card? Thank you. Mr. Newsom, Saber Newsom.
Hello,
my name is Seaver Newsom III. I live in Nassau County, Yulee, Florida. I don't care if people know where I live. I'm a veteran. My father was a veteran in World War II, and my great-grandfather and his 5 sons fought in the War of Northern Aggression. As you are all aware, there was a protest and a counter-protest this past Saturday. We would have never been down there if they hadn't planned to protest. We weren't going to be there, but they did, so we showed up. Even though we didn't like the decision to move the monument that y'all made on November 10th, we were going to abide by it because that's what you said. So that's what it will be. We'll abide by that. But they don't want to abide by it. They want to tell you what to do. On November 17, 2020, the Putnam Alliance for Equity and Justice put out a letter. This is what it said. The Putnam Alliance for Equity and Justice does not accept the decision made by the Board of County Commissioners regarding the Confederate statue located on the Putnam County Courthouse grounds. As a result of this willful ignorance, they're calling y'all ignorant, we do not support rehoming the statue to yet another public site. We are withdrawing our compromise offer to relocation of the statue and now advocate for its complete removal. That's what they want, complete removal, destruction. They will not compromise. At the last meeting, I offered a $1,000 check of my own money, and I ain't got no money, to put up another monument. I was going to do that. A monument to Mr. Jenkins, who was a war hero, someone that jumps on a hand grenade to save his fellow soldier in a foxhole is a hero to me. I was going to offer a $1,000 check to put up a monument to him, or to the slaves from Putnam County on the courthouse grounds, or to others. Put up more monuments, don't take them down. There are 75,000 people in Putnam County. Look how many have showed up because they want the monument, to take the monument down. How many? 20 people out of 75,000 show up here? And I was down there and I did this. To me, I was growing up, that was an okay sign. But I said this is white power. You know why? Because I had pictures of Tavell Adams and Darnisha standing on the statue, up on it, giving the black power sign. I remember the 1968 Olympics when those athletes stand up there and did this on the podium. That is, you can look it up in Google, that is black power. Okay. And they were saying black power. Right. So I did that. That's why I did it.
Thank you.
I grew up, that is okay.
Thank you for your time today. Your time's up. All right, all the blue cards have been appropriated here. Is there anybody that has not had a chance to speak? All right, hearing none, this meeting is ended.